Topping this half an hour, positive news for the president. President Trump's approval rating increasing to the highest mark in months. According to a new Politico Morning Consult poll, the president's approval rating is now at 45%. Joining me now to talk more about that is President Trump's daughter-in-law and Trump for President senior advisor, Lara Trump. Lara, it's good to see you.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Always good to be with you, Maria.
And we want to talk about the president's approval rating.
Yeah.
It is up. But 51% still say they disapprove of the job he's doing. But certainly these numbers are better than they have been in a while. Your take on this, and what do you think is behind it?
Well, listen, we saw throughout the campaign, the polls don't fully reflect the real story out there. I actually think his approval rating is much higher than that. I think you're seeing the numbers tick up because people cannot deny what is happening in this country. We have unemployment at an all-time low in 17 years, with the stock market at an all-time high, 1.5 million new jobs created by this president. Tax reform is on the 1-yard line here. So I think that people are finally saying, we can't deny that this president is doing an incredible job. And I actually believe if you go out and talk to the average American, you'll find that that number is probably much higher.
Some of the mainstream media are denying it, though, even though the numbers...
Of course they are. That's all they do.
The numbers, though, don't lie. You got 2 straight quarters of 3% plus GDP growth.
And listen,
we know
that's despite the fact that, like you say, the media is not being very helpful to the president.
Yeah.
They're trying all they can to stop him. Listen, we have Democrats that are trying all they can to stop him, even some Republicans who have not really been on board. But even with that, the president is doing such an incredible job. Hasn't even been in office for a full year. I'm incredibly proud of him.
He's made some big moves. Yesterday's move on Jerusalem, saying that they're going to move the embassy there from Tel Aviv. It was, a lot of people said, well, wait a second, maybe this is going to cause disruption. This is what we're protesting. And yet he said he was doing what he thought was right. Then the peace process was really incredible. To hear the Saudis talking about befriending the Israelis because they have the common enemy of Iran, that's pretty extraordinary.
Well, listen, this is something I think has been long overdue. Many people would agree with the president on that. In every other country around the world, the U.S. Embassy is in the capital, and this is the right thing to move it to Jerusalem. I think it took a bold leader to do this. It's been talked about for a long time, and I think it's a great move. I think it really shows where the U.S. stands on things.
2 presidents wanted to do it, and they never did it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so President Trump has thrown his support behind Roy Moore in the Alabama Senate race. Of course, we know Moore has been accused of sexually assaulting young women going back decades. President Trump not campaigning for Moore ahead of the Tuesday election, December 12th, but he is going to Florida near the Alabama border for a rally tomorrow, and you made a recorded campaign call encouraging Alabama voters to attend this event. Listen to this.
Hi, this is Lara Trump, calling on behalf of my father-in-law, President Donald Trump. I'm incredibly excited to invite you to an event in your area. The special rally event featuring President Donald Trump will take place on Friday, December 8th at the Pensacola Bay Center.
So you're doing that more and more lately, right?
Yeah, well, actually, this is not uncommon. Every rally that we hold for the president, the campaign puts on all these different rallies for the president. We always do a robocall. We do radio calls.
Is that effective?
I think so. Yeah. I think it lets people know that the president's coming. So this is not unusual. I know a lot of people made a big deal about it, but whenever we have a rally on the border of a state, we put it in multiple states, of course.
So your sister-in-law, Ivanka Trump, came out very early. I was actually surprised she came out so early and saying this: there's a special place in hell for people who prey on children. So where do you stand in your support of Roy Moore? Do you support Roy Moore?
Well, listen, I'm not an Alabama voter. I think that's for the people of Alabama to decide, and I think they will very shortly. We'll see what they think of things. But listen, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, as is Ivanka.
Yeah. Let me ask you about 2020. Is the president going to run for re-election?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. And I think the country is very excited to know that.
There's some people who question. They say, will President Trump run for re-election? I thought he was, but I wanted to get it from you straight because I know that you're working on the campaign in 2020. There are just over 1,000 days until the election day in 2020. Incredible. As a senior advisor, what's going on behind the scenes in terms of getting ready for that?
Well, we're raising a ton of money. The last time I was here, we were talking about the hats that we sold for Halloween.
That's right.
We now have a special limited edition Christmas hat that that we're selling for the campaign, 100% of the proceeds go to the 2020 campaign. And, you know, we're really just ramping up. This time in a year, we'll have a lot more people come on board. We'll really get everything in line for running for 2020.
Well, obviously, the president had a very good strategy. He focused on jobs. He focused on economic growth, the things that were most important to the American people. But what lessons did you learn from the last campaign that you can take into this re-election campaign?
Well, I think we all learned a ton. Listen, none of us had been in the political sphere ever.
This was new to you.
Yeah, it was new to all of us. So we really just learned about the whole process. And I think going forward, we'll be very well prepared for 2020. We are also doing something for the campaign we call the Real News, where every week I update people about what the president and the administration have accomplished that week. And so I think it's just going to be more about touting the president's accomplishments in, you know, his first 4 years going forward.
Well, now he's got a track record to actually talk about, and I'm sure he'll be talking about the economic indicators that you just mentioned that are very powerful. What else is he going to be running on, do you think, in 2020?
Well, I mean, I think we'll have to see what happens going forward. Hopefully we can get something done with health care. I think the country is dying for that. Yep. And I think it just is all very dependent on, you know, how Congress works with the president, what we're able to see happen.
This tax plan is important. The American people want to see it, even though there's some disagreement in terms of who approves it, who likes it, in terms of the American people. They may not really understand it. But if this happens, you think that's going to be really an impact on economic growth?
Absolutely.
Something else he can talk about in 2020.
And the president has said it time and time again. This is such an important move for our country. The only way that you're going to see, you know, money come back to this country, to see all the economic factors go up, is by changing the taxes. And I think people are ready for it.
How are you doing? Baby Luke is now 3 months, right? His 3-month birthday next week.
Yes.
Wow, that's congratulations.
Thank you. No, we're doing great. We just did some sleep training, so Eric and I are finally, knock on wood, trying to sleep through the night. But he's doing great. We're so blessed, and to have just had our first Thanksgiving together and now our first Christmas together. It's so exciting.
And Christmas will be with the whole family. Will the president be there with you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. We'll all be together.
That is terrific. Yeah. Baby Luke. Well, congratulations, Lara. It's good to see you this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Lara Trump joining us.